The borders of space and time have opened once again, and transmitting from the mountains of West Virginia, it's time once again for Let's Find Out with Diego. The universe is waiting for you.
All systems go.
On this episode of Let's Find Out, Paraconn returns with 30 plus guests on July 12th through the 13th at the Crosby High School in Waterbury, Connecticut. For this must-attend paranormal and true crime conference, it's packed with over 30 special guests, a fantastic lineup of vendors, psychics, readers, authors, and speakers, all ready to share their insights and experiences. All this plus more. Please welcome back our very good friends. They are the Shaman and the Showman, Charles Rosenay and Thomas Patrick Gormley, brothers. Welcome back to Let's Find Out. Happy to have you on again.
Great to be back, and thank you for putting my name first. I appreciate that.
Well, it's usually the Shaman and the Showman, but we'll let it slide this time.
Well, because I think last time I did the other way around. I had you, Thomas, first, and Charles, but now I talked to Charles not long ago. We had a really good episode talking Beatles, and that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and
fun. Yeah, so unexpectedly, informative and fun. And as will today's show be about this amazing paranormal convention we got coming up very, very soon.
Yeah, it's only about a week away at this point, and let's get right down to it, gentlemen. This year's Paraconn is going to be over the top. Now with the addition of the topic of true crime. If I were a betting man, I'm guessing whose idea this was, and I'm pointing at you, Thomas.
He takes all the credit and none of the blame. It's all. Yeah. We thank him for that. But we actually before you get into the true crime, it's crazy how much we added to the show because what started out every year of doing 10, 15, maybe 20 guests, doubled the guests. Brought in 2 legacy guests, 1 celebrity guest, who I'm sure we're going to talk about. Brought in live music, and brought in a whole nother element to the show in the true crimes. We can continue from there.
Yeah.
Now, with the addition of the true crime, that it almost seems like paranormal and true crime sometimes do go hand in hand.
Exactly. You think about it. When you think about the paranormal world, the Amityville Horror, the Lizzie Borden house, the Basilica Axe murder house, all those are haunts or hauntings that have happened that stem, if you go back, Amityville, DeFeo murders, Lizzie Borden, the axe murders at the Basilica murder house there in Iowa. So it goes hand in hand. There is a major crime or serial killer action or anything like that, and it just seems to be that energy's left over for us paranormal peeps to take a look at.
And when we're talking crimes and paranormal, and sometimes these stories, unfortunately, do link up with these horrific murders and these kind of cases. Once everything's said and done, and after, let's say the person goes to prison or they're long dead, does this type of spirit, this force, does it follow family members from generations?
Yeah, there could be generational trauma and curses that keep these things together. The trauma of it, some people are holding to certain spots from what people have found out over the years. And, all that stuff that we're talking about, there's going to be so many vendors and speakers at the Paraconn to talk about this and answer all those questions. And it's going to be an incredible weekend. And I tell you, Raph, I wish you were going to be there. Got to get you up there sometime soon.
I need to, man. I haven't traveled as much this year as I plan to, but next year is definitely going to happen.
Yes.
I got to meet you guys. I got to meet Adam. I got to meet Charles. I got to meet you, Thomas, and the rest of the family. Yeah. Because it's long overdue, man. I really just got to get out there. Yeah. And we're going to hit on Paraconn here again, of course. But Charles, let me ask you, because I understand that you're writing, either you're already ready to publish or writing another book of supernatural nature, like a continuation of the first book?
Yeah, the first book was so well received, The True Ghost Stories of Connecticut. And originally I'm like, oh man, if it's only Connecticut, well, I only sell it in Connecticut to Connecticut people. And a ghost story is a ghost story is a ghost story. The stories are so captivating and so engrossing that people get them everywhere and absolutely love them. And I thought, well, I mean, I could literally do this in other states, but because so many of the people that I'm involved with are from Connecticut, New England, the East Coast. So I do a second volume. People who didn't get to contribute to the first one, call it True Ghost Stories of Connecticut Part 2, including other parts of New England. And we're about a third of the way there. We've gotten some amazing, amazing stories that, like, each one of them is like worth the worth getting the book for. And I think that was the case with most of the stories and most of the chapters that were in the first one. And now the second one is just, I'm so excited. My goal is to get it out before the end of the year and maybe debut it at our Salem Paranormal Convention, which is in November. But I can't think that far. I got everything now between Thomas and myself are planning to make sure that this convention is the best one ever. This one, July 12th to 13th in Waterbury, Connecticut.
And not to get too many spoilers on that, Charles, but can you give us a glimpse of a couple of things you're going to cover in the book?
I'm holding them up.
There's this great story that took place in East Haven, Connecticut, at the Shoreline Trolley Museum, where our buddy over here, the shaman of the shaman and the showman, actually helped a spirit cross over. That's going to be one of the banner stories in the book. But I got one from this guy from Massachusetts, and he's one of the reasons I really wanted to spread it out a little, because I used to buy and trade and sell pinball machines with this guy. And he found out that I'm, a paranormal nut and that I'm, into ghosts. And he said, well, I've written my ghost story memories for my grandchildren. Would you like to read them? And I read the two of them. They both deserve to be in the book. I'm probably only going to put one in, but yeah, that was one of the reasons I thought I'd spread it out just a little beyond Connecticut, because his story's from Massachusetts, and it's just so good. I'd rather tell you the places than the actual stories themselves. When we do, Thomas and I do a lot of libraries, and we talk about our personal experiences. He'll usually tell his encounters. I'll usually tell one of mine, and then I'll read one from the book. And the one that I read from the book, just typical of all the ones that are in there. And when I hit one point of the book, you hear the audience, the whole crowd and library together go, you just hear that suck in of breath because of the shock of one of the things. And from that point on, if there's anyone in that room who already doesn't believe, they believe.
Definitely on that story when you tell that one. So that's a very good one. It's funny. Sometimes our schedules get out of hand, and I may not be able to be at some of the libraries. And there's been times that I've had to fill in for Charles. And there was this one time I was there with our friend Lori Salerno, and
Yes.
I had to pretend to be Charles. So
Yes.
I've heard him read the story so many times that I pretended to be Charles, and I put the accents all in the same place as he would. And afterwards, I think Lori couldn't stop laughing over in the corner because she's heard it a few times herself. So that's a good one. But we always have fun doing the libraries. Anytime you guys come to see us there or anything that we do, it's always giving you the best time and some laughs. And laughter is the best medicine, especially when you're doing the paranormal or true crime and talk to like-minded people in a safe place. What's better than that for a couple bucks?
And it may sound a little self-indulgent, and forgive us, but, we pack our itinerary at the convention with nonstop guests and panels, literally, from when people walk in at noon till 6 p.m., there's something going on at all times. And on the stage, there's all the guest speakers. But I slot us for 2 sessions, one on the Saturday and one on the Sunday, because we've got so much to tell and so much to promote. And I'd hate to think that someone comes on Saturday and then misses us, and or vice versa. So we do 2 sets, 2 seminars, 2 panels, and they're both going to be very different. And I just look at our roster of the other guests who are speaking, and it's like a who's who. If you want to really get in the ultimate, the epitome of everything paranormal, true crimes, you're going to get it at the show. Plus, you're going to get a celebrity entertainer, and he's agreed to be very, very immersed in the convention. Not only hang out and meet fans, not only sign autographs, not just take pictures, but he's going to be doing an interview session, and he's also going to be appearing with us at an after-hours event. So I'm going to tell you, of course, everyone's got to know by now that that's Butch Patrick, the original Eddie from the Munsters, Eddie Munster. He's our celebrity legacy guest of honor. And I think Thomas and I just announced that he's joining us for Saturday night when the convention's over. Tom, you want to tell us all the exciting things going on, even after the convention on Saturday?
Yeah, so after the convention on Saturday, there's very few tickets left. And just anybody watching, I did a live the other day as some people were having difficulty. But all you have to do is email us for if we have some reservations left. It's ctparaconn, 2 N's, at gmail.com, and say you want to come to the Saturday night event in Waterbury at the very haunted Elks Lodge. Okay. And you're going to be able to go on a ghost hunt with us, but we're going to eat first. We're going to have a meal, and you're going to be able to eat with Eddie Munster and the rest of the participants. And we're going to go over equipment. We're going to set the right intention. And then we're going to go look into the very haunted Elks Lodge, being led by the godfather of the paranormal himself, John Zaffis, myself and Charles, the shaman and the showman, and also from the TV show Repossessed, Dr. Litriana Brown, who's a shaman also, and my business partner with Wardruna and the Wardruna Experience, shaman Stacia Wills. So you're going to have the whole gamut of, I'll say for them, I never want to talk about myself, but those are some of the best people in the paranormal. And it's very inexpensive to have a dinner and be at a spot that's never been investigated really before. So that makes it even fresh.
There's, I believe, 9 spots left. So if anyone wants to join us. So wait, you're telling me that not only on Saturday from noon to 6 or 11 o'clock if you want to come VIP, and Sunday, so in addition to the convention itself and all the amazing things going on at the convention, we're doing a ghost hunt on Saturday night?
Yes.
What? This is amazing.
That is going to be, the whole weekend is going to be an experience of a lifetime. If I were you, and I love the paranormal, I would come to all 3 events.
I'm going to.
Full experience. Yeah. I think I'll be there too. Yeah. All right. As long as I talked you into it. So that's what counts.
Now, this all sounds terrific because we're not just having an event. You're not just listening to people give their testimonies and talk about their experiences, but this could be a life-changing event for some people.
Yeah.
Because they might be able to find some answers to some of their questions that nobody else can maybe answer, but maybe at Paraconn, they might be able to get that closure they need, right?
A lot of people, yes. Thomas's goal, and I think it's a mission, is he helps the living and he helps the other side too, if it needs it. And, people who come to the convention, most of the people, they're in a good place. I think 90%, are coming there. It's an entertainment event. They'll get, the tarot card reading. They'll get, psychic reading, whatever they need to do. But there's always that small percentage of people probably troubled or need some guidance or need some help. And I can't think of a better person on the planet who can help them besides Thomas and his team, the Wardruna team. I mean, they're there for healing. They're there for helping.
And during this event, where you're talking about having a dinner and then going on a ghost hunt or an investigation of sorts. What are we eating? What's on the menu?
I don't know.
We don't really plan. We never plan that till a few days before, seeing on how many people are going. If people are writing in, oh, I hope there's vegetarian meals. I hope there's this, that. We judge it. We judge it by the feedback. Most of the time, we do a pizza place where we have enough room to just spread out and do things casually, and then make our way to the actual, location. Sometimes we've brought in subs and, done endless subs for everybody. But it just depends. I don't know. We'll ask Butch Patrick. We'll ask Eddie Munster what he's up for, and we'll probably wind up going to a restaurant of his choice.
That's a great idea. And now, how many years has Paraconn been running now?
This is the 5th annual show. For 3 years, we did it at an old armory, not far from where we are now. But we love doing it in the summer. And it got each successive year seemed to be hotter and hotter in the armory. They didn't have air conditioning, and it was tough on the vendors. I mean, mind you, Diego, we get 50, 60, 75 tables where people are there the whole time, and we want them to be happy. We want them to be comfortable. The last year we found a place that was air conditioned. Now we got a bigger place that's air conditioned, free parking, food trucks. We think we really think we're giving the best of everything for a $19.99 ticket, less than $20, hours and hours of entertainment and fun, and all the things that people want in a paranormal convention.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, you mentioned the armories and how hot they are. Back in my days as in the Indies when I was a wrestler, we did a lot of these armories. We did high schools, and I'm going to say about 100% of those armories, they did not have AC.
Correct.
And their ideas of AC was just to open the door and let the air flow in the middle of summer. So so I get it. So you really want to make everybody feel comfortable. You don't want to sit there sweating all night and all day, and then it was awful experience. Great experience for me though. It wasn't all awful. It's all for a purpose. And then now let's go back in time, because you probably told me the story last year. I had you on last year, and I like a good origin story, because I know we talked, Charles, about some origin story with Beatles. And what is the origin story of both of you, of the shaman and the showman? Because you guys are putting on some quality stuff, but something like this just doesn't happen by chance, or does it?
No, no one's asked us, I don't think, while we're going together, about our origins. My origin is mostly, universal monsters, horror, and I always see, these things as adjacent. Not Jason as in Jason Voorhees, but adjacent to, paranormal, true crime, UFO, cryptid, monsters. All there's all a connection and a fascination. So I started out as a monster kid, loving the universal horror stuff. I'll let Thomas tell his origin, and then he'll also tell you our origin together.
Yeah. So, of course, my origins, my whole life, paranormal has always been in my life. 40 years of it, helping, again, the living and the dead. Let's put it at that. Make it nice and simple. I worked at a psychiatric prison in the state of Florida. I had a lot of high-end training to be a behaviorist, to learn how to profile inmates in case something went down for crisis management. And that turned into my love for breaking down the psychology of historic serial killers, which turned into my own podcast on All Access Network TV, Serial Killers, Supernatural, and Murderers. And a bunch of the people I'm on with will actually be at Paraconn to talk the true crime side of things. But, that's what puts that together. Those are my two loves. Besides music like Charles, I'm more of a country guy, but Charles, the Beatles, I love the Beatles too. But, that share of that camaraderie there, we didn't know until we actually met and got to talk. Now, I met Charles like a while ago, and it was kind of like a quick thing, and we didn't really remember that we met each other. But finally, his old partner invited me to come to this psychic fair. These psychic fairs we run in Connecticut every year. We try and do one a season. And we got the one coming up too in Dudleytown at the end of July, after Paraconn, of course. But I met him there, and we were talking and all that. And just, I'm kind of walking around, meeting all the psychics and seeing how how they are, get a feel off of them. And Charles looks at me dead in the eye and says, I don't like you. and I said back to him, I don't like you either. And we started laughing. And it was funny. And, it almost had that instantaneous bond. But it wasn't until a couple days later that his partner left and decided to do something on his own. And he had all these things booked and needed some help. So he had a couple people helping him. And then I started helping him, too, on the days I could. But then it turned into a partnership. It was like I was helping all the time after, just myself. And turned into all the planning and running ideas off each other, and Charles' years of experience of doing this. And me, I would just throw ideas at him, and he's like, that may not work. And then I have to try and like twist his arm on certain things. But it's been successful, and we warn each other about stuff, and we care about each other like brothers, and we want to see it successful. And our love for each other, we put that on to everybody that comes to Paraconn. That love, the laughter, like we share, the camaraderie for anybody to come and talk, for this event, paranormal and true crime, or just your memories about the monsters. So Diego, just about everything he just said was accurate, except if you know anybody who's ever been in a psychiatric ward, they always say, we worked there. You know the truth. I don't have to tell you. Yeah. Well, you are what you're good at, I guess. Takes a wacko to know a wacko, I guess.
Well, I mean,
that's why I'm a glorious weirdo, man.
Yeah. I mean, we all got to be I would say, a special kind of crazy to even be involved in what we do, but in a loving way, of course, because once you're in with a good band of folks that are really in the same mission that you are, everything, although it's work, it's not work because you're doing it to help others. And in a sense, it kind of helps you as well. You're doing a lot of good. This is not, like I said, it's not just an event, but you're doing a lot of good for a lot of people. And that's the beautiful thing about this event. And which brings me to a story I think fits very well with this. And I was going to save it towards the end, but I think strike while the iron is hot is what they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Thomas, remember last year, you, myself, and Adam, we had a good story about the werewolf, not the werewolf murder, but the Bigfoot murders, right?
Yeah.
Where two fishing buddies, one of them killed the other one, and his self-defense was that he thought that his buddy was actually going to sacrifice him to a band of Bigfoots, a clan of Bigfoot, right? And needless to say, it didn't turn out. He stuck to the story, didn't get a lawyer or anything, but we broke down what we thought, and you came up from the law enforcement side of things and told us what possibly could be going through this person's mind. Today, I opened my email and I saw a story. I don't believe in coincidences, but this might have been a good coincidence of sorts. So, Charles, you're going to love this story too because it has everything Paraconn related in a way. So,
yes.
If you don't mind me, I'm going to do my Tom Brokaw. I'm going to read a little bit of a news story to you. And I'm
Yes,
very
please.
curious to see what you guys think of this. And don't laugh at me. I'm going to try my best here. So I think this article might be about a month old, a couple weeks old, but it reads something like this. In Salt Lake City, Utah, last Saturday, 24-year-old Jose Manuel Perez attacked a friend during lunch. Now, he placed him in a chokehold, and he attempted to stab him with a wooden stake. Now, Perez allegedly accused his friend of being a werewolf, as he intended to pierce his heart with his wooden stake. The victim managed to escape unharmed, though Perez also stole the gentleman's backpack. Later on, police did apprehend Perez, who still had the backpack and several rocks in his possession, which he later claimed that it was to protect him against his werewolf buddy. Perez now facing charges for aggravated robbery. I'm going to start with you, Thomas, because I always ask you what could put a person in a frame of mind where now he's accusing his friend of being a werewolf and attempted to murder him with a wooden stake, which I don't think that's how you really should kill a werewolf. If you watch enough of the movies and know the lore, I don't think the wooden stake's going to do the job, but I'll leave it up to you, Thomas.
Let me interrupt. I was going to say that. I was going to say this guy is guilty. If he thought he was a werewolf, there should have been the silver bullets.
Silver bullet, yeah. What the hell?
Silver bullets. This guy go to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Guilty for not watching the Universal monsters of the 1930s and 40s.
Or the Stephen King movie, so the Silver
Exactly.
Bullet.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Yeah, but psychologically, it sounds like, I don't know the age, but it sounds like his paranoia of his friend, and making up maybe that story in his head. It's more of like the beginnings of schizophrenia. Is probably my best guess on the story you're giving me. With more information, interviews, and all that, you could really probably get down deep. But yeah, that's what happens sometimes. That's schizophrenia or dissociation with your friends, or an anger with your friends, and But again, he needs to do better at his lore. He wanted to kill his friend with a stake. That's for a vampire, not for a werewolf. So shame on him.
Yeah. Now, do you think maybe had he had a silver stake, would that work, or does it have to be a bullet?
I bet a silver stake would work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might work. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the story's kind of fresh. I don't really know the whole resolution of it, but I think it kind of fit because we're talking about werewolves, we're talking about Eddie Munster,
Yeah,
and then we're talking about psychological things. We're talking about with you, Thomas, and sometimes I think that maybe some people do believe that these sort of things can happen, as far as somebody maybe changing their shape, or they feel there's some evil presence in that person and they're the only person that can actually kill it or take care of it. Not my recommendation, but hopefully this person gets the help they need. And this is not the first time we've heard stories like this before, because we've heard stories about people saying the devil made me do it, or they claim other people are demon possessed. And some of these things could be possible, but I don't know. In today's day and time, is that something that could still happen?
I think it did. Isn't the story of Arnie Johnson?
yeah, Arnie Johnson.
Who got off because he was possessed. And I think it was a case that the Warrens worked on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very, very possible. And, it's a fine line. It's a fine line between, you said good crazy, right, before, and we love good crazy. But there's probably a fine line between bad crazy and criminal. And no one can explain that better than Thomas. But it's scary to think that there's real life stuff happening that's of such a bad, the reason people say, why do you love horror movies? And it's because it's fiction. It's the same reason I love going to a haunted house, a haunted attraction, or going to a roller coaster. When the scares are done, you walk out and it's bright and cheery all over again, and that's a good thing. But with some mental scenarios and some violent scenarios and some unsavory individuals who are either affected by rage or sickness, my gosh, that's scary. That's real scary.
Yeah, it is. And Charles is right. That's my life. That's been my life for many, many years. Working in the prisons with some of the, most people would see the scariest people in the world. When you work at a prison and that sally port closes behind you and you go into a dorm or you go into a confinement unit like I work, you're in there. You're in there with them unarmed. You have a body alarm, and hopefully your fellow officers could get to you in time, that 2-minute window. And that's what you have to live with. So you're on constant awareness. That's, that true crime side of things. That's scary. The scariest thing isn't, like Charles said, the movies and all that. It's people. People are the scariest things.
Yes.
Everybody always asks me, are you afraid of the ghosts? No, I'm afraid of the people. The people that do evil things to each other, that sometimes you do evil stuff enough and you have such negativity that you create your own haunting, or you could put that energy onto a haunting. We only use about 15% of our brain. What is that other stuff doing? What is that other stuff creating in what we perceive our world is? And those are the questions that we could answer at Paraconn. When people just want to sit at our table, ask us questions, or listen to the speakers, or come on the ghost hunt with Eat with Eddie Munster, and come with John Zaffis, myself, Charles, Lee Triana Brown, Stacia Wills, and get to experience people with a lot of experience to show you those things and answer those questions. And that's that whole weekend. You'll be able to do that in a safe environment.
And during these days, so what time does the event start?
Officially, it starts at noon. Bird VIP. There's a lot of folks who want to get upfront parking. They want to reserve front row seats. They want to visit the readers and the psychics and the vendors before anyone else. They want to get autographs. They can come in at 11. I think it's another $5 or something real nominal. And they can come in at 11 o'clock for the early bird VIP. But general admission is noon. And we used to end it at 5. Now it's till 6 to give everyone an extra hour. And that's both on Saturday and Sunday. And then Saturday night, as we mentioned earlier, the paranormal investigation with John Zaffis, with the shaman and the showman, and some other special guests. And all of those, the best way to get all the information on the convention is at the website we mentioned earlier, www.paraconn with 2 N's, like Connecticut, paraconn.org. But the only way to get on board the ghost hunt at night is to email ctparaconn, again, 2 N's, ctparaconn@gmail.com, because we kind of try to keep that a little more exclusive and not just put it out on every website and every possible way to get there. We want people who either been with us before or the right kind of people to join us on a paranormal investigation. We don't want loonies who just happen to have seen it somewhere. We're the loonies enough. We don't need any more loonies.
No, we just talked about one in Salt Lake City. We don't need that guy going there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We don't need somebody stabbing Eddie Munster with a silver stake.
So God forbid.
That would be very bad. I know, Charles. I know we have insurance. I don't think we have that much.
No, God forbid. We love him. He's kind enough. He's only really touring now with the Munster mobiles. And he does drive-in theaters, and he gets paid really big bucks to go on and go with those wagons and those mobiles, whatever those are called, the coach. But he known him for many years. He's a friend. I told him, we're not doing a horror convention. We're not doing a monster show. It's paranormal, but I'd love for you to come, be our celebrity guest. And people are just going gaga over being able to finally meet him. A pop culture childhood star, TV personality. Who doesn't love Eddie Munster? And they're going to get to see him and get his autograph and get his picture, and he'll be there all weekend. So it's all of the above.
Yeah, we got tons of people coming from all over the country. I've been having people email saying we're flying in from Chicago just so we could be at the event.
Wow.
All the way out California, Washington area, just you name it. I've heard a lot of these different states of people just flying in, and we got guests from all over the country. Everything you could think of: authors, psychic mediums, especially one of the biggest name ones, Kenneth Drake, who's the Hollywood psychic medium, who's read politicians, high-end, world leaders and famous actors and actresses. Just the same as my friend Stacia Wills is on that same level. Dr. Leigh Brown, and especially one of our big ones is one of our local friends. She's sold out galleries all up and down the East Coast, and it's from Waterbury, Connecticut, where this is going on, Patty Griffin. So we're very happy to have her too. But just so everybody knows, we have something planned. At Sunday, the last speaker of the day is actually probably going to be a gallery reading by some of the best in the world. So people will get to experience that. Normally, something like that is very expensive to go to, and this is just part of getting a ticket in and getting to experience that. Maybe get in touch with people if you don't get a chance, because a lot of the psychic mediums get so busy. If you don't get your chance, you get another opportunity to do that also.
And it's tricky because we mentioned some of the names that they just happen to come to mind as we're doing an interview. Yeah. But people should go to the website because we don't want to slight any of our guests by not mentioning them. But there's just too many. So it's really whoever comes to mind, we just pop out the name. So, but in addition, for the first time ever, we've got a world-class tattoo artist, Ghost Daddy Tattoos. Are going to be there. We've got a live band. We got the Painted Owls from Houston, Texas. They're a spooky themed rock and roll band, and they can be playing outside. all these things are just,
Well, they got a hit song you guys could learn all the lyrics before and sing along with them. It's called Grim
right.
Life. Grim Life. It's on. You could hit that up on
Grim Life on YouTube
Spotify and all that stuff. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. And speaking of tattoos, and I'm not trying to be a Weisenheimer about this, but will you guys ever get matching shaman and showman tattoos?
We already have them on our butts.
Yeah.
I didn't want to assume, but
it's an arrow. It's an arrow pointing to my butt saying, "Just say no."
and mine is mine's an arrow to him saying, "Why not?" And
wow, I wasn't expecting all that, but I'm glad y'all talked about it.
Well, you asked for it. So.
But
That's my fault. Yeah.
Diego, I'm glad you didn't assume anything on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. You caught on that one. That's beautiful. So before we go, I always like to leave it on a high note. So we talked about the origin story, you both, and Paraconn's been running strong now for 5 years. If there were a film adaptation of The Shaman and the Showman, which actor would you get to play yourselves?
Well, Lou Costello is dead, so I can't find another one.
Let's try a live one because
I would. Simon Pegg would be me.
Nice. It's a good one.
Yeah. What about you, Tomas? Brad Pitt?
No, God, no. So, oh God, what's his name? I think his name is Tom too. Is the guy that played Bane in Batman?
Oh, no. What's his name? Bane in Batman.
I think I know who you're talking about. He was in Warrior too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's also he's the Venom.
Yeah. Yep. See now I gotta.
Now I can't think. Oh,
get that IMBD.
Yeah. I know, huh? Yeah. Well, it'll come to me. So
yeah, you'll text me at 2 a.m. I'll find out from it.
We'll remember after the show's over.
Absolutely. So, but once again,
yeah, Tom Hardy.
Tom
Hardy.
Yeah.
I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah.
And with all this being said, now let's go over it one more time, top to bottom, for those that want to attend Paraconn this year. Where can they find information about the tickets?
Yes. The website is Paraconn, Paraconn.org. The location is Waterbury, Connecticut, Crosby High School. Tickets on the website, all the information on the website, July 11th and 12th. I think it's the upcoming weekend. We want to just come. We'll have a great time. Say hello to the shaman and the showman who make sure that everyone has a fun time, an educated time, and just everything that they would possibly want in a paranormal convention will be there. The 2 days plus.
Yeah. Let me add one thing. When people go to the website, you'll see discount hotels, you'll see tickets. Just put your mouse over it, and then you'll see the little hand come up. If you're coming from out of town, it'll show you like all the hotels in the area, what they're discounted for the event. And also, I always suggest if you're coming into town, Airbnb, Vrbo, find something nearby. That way you can have fun all weekend, stay by. Connecticut's one of the most haunted states in the country. So when you're not at Paraconn or at the event Saturday night with John Zaffis, Eddie Munster, Charles, myself, and Stacia and Lee Triana, there's other things that you'll be able to do. But that event, again, Saturday night, that's the other thing, ctparaconn@gmail.com. Remember the 2 N's. Email us, say you want to come, and we'll help you out. But yeah, there's so many. We got you covered for everything. And there's great restaurants. Connecticut's the pizza capital of the world. The hamburger was kind of put into retail from first time here in Connecticut. The famous steamed cheeseburger. A lot of foodies if you're going to come. So there's plenty of food. We have the food trucks, of course, that are going to have some cool, what is it, like barbecue?
Desserts, all the above.
Yeah.
Yes, all of it.
So we're covered. So
y'all be well fed and well haunted. Gentlemen,
yep.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It's always a pleasure. You guys are always a lot of fun to have on. I'd like to have you guys back on again for next year's Paraconn. And I know that it'll be a tremendous event as always. Thomas, Charles, thank you so much. And really love you guys.
Thank you. By next time, we'll have new tattoos to tell you about.
Yeah.
Please do. Thank you, gentlemen.
Near my butt crack.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Let's find out with Diego, the power of Diego Mania.
Copyright Diego the Podcaster. All content for Let's Find Out is the property of Diego the Podcaster and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, Diego the Podcaster, or Let's Find Out. The information shared on Let's Find Out with Diego is provided on an as-is basis, with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.